Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. And the topic is quite interesting. It's education, perception versus the truth. One of the striking features for today's webinar, other than, of course, having our extremely distinguished resource speaker, Mr. Pawan Kumar Gupta, who has come a long way, this webinar is being held in our school premises. And we are maintaining all the COVID protocols. And we are hoping that the session will be absolutely fantastic. I welcome Mr. Pawan Kumar Gupta to BDMI International. Sir, it's a true honor to have you with us today. Thank you for being here. Mr. Gupta is a very, very well-known speaker. He's an author, and he's also an educationist, a graduate from IIT Delhi. He's a co-founder of this NGO called SID, and they run 35 village schools and has published more than 40 books in both Hindi and English language. He's been known for collaborating with many scholars, and he works relentlessly to make this society a better place to live in. Along with our esteemed guest speaker for today, we are extremely thankful to have with us Mr. Rajeev Maheshwari. He is the member of the management committee. Amita Prasad ma'am, she is the director of IVWS and director of BD Memorial. We have with us Suman Sood ma'am. I welcome all our distinguished guests today. And last but nowhere the least, with their undying support in whatever we do, we have the heads of our institution. We have virtually, we have our CEO sir. We have here Principal ma'am, Vijay Chaudhary, Director of Education, Ruma Basu ma'am, Vice Principal Taposhi Mukherjee ma'am, and we also have Ayush Gupta sir. Now I would request, before we move on with this webinar, I would request Mr. Rajeev Maheshwari to say a few words, please. Sir, if you could please put on the headphone. Rajeev sir? Is he there? We are trying to figure out a little bit of the technical, all COVID. Ma'am, with the joining, I was not checking that. Ma'am, we'll just check the list, what we have. Rajeev Maheshwari sir, if you could please unmute yourself once. There is this tiny microphone button there. And if you could please unmute, and we have Mr. Headphone, and he's all ready to listen to whatever you have to say.
Yeah, I'm here. Am I audible? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
sir,
sir.
you're audible, sir.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Today is a great day for the school because we have with us Mr. Pawan Gupta, who's also a very close friend of mine. He is charting new areas of thought and understanding in the field of education. And I've heard his other talks before, and I'm sure his ideas and points are to be really looked into and followed to get a better grasp of education for all the children. Actually, we are learning, I mean, our children are learning what we teach them. What Pawan is trying to do is to open up alternate avenues of education, which I feel are very, very relevant in today's times, where we need to be grounded to our roots. And I'm sure Pawan's deliberations today will be an eye-opener for all of you. I don't wish to talk too much today because Pawan is going to give a speech on education. So I'll just sign off. Thanks to all of you and thanks for the success of this webinar. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Pawan Gupta, would you like to say something to Mr. Rajeev Maheshwari? You can say it from there. You have the headphone on, sir.
Thank you very much.
I'm not able to hear him.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, Pawan.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, I can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I can.
Okay, you can. Okay. So I just said that thank you for your very kind words, and you are right. I'm trying to talk about things which have emerged out of my own experience of past 31 years. They are still evolving. I'm not saying that I have come to a final full stop, but yes, that's what I do. And I talk here, you will get a glimpse of what I have to say. Thank you very much.
Sir, I'll take over.
Please.
Yeah. No, Dragon is not touched. No, Dragon is not touched. Yes. We are still getting used to it, I believe. We get some time, but some tiny glitches, but I think it's part of the new normal, as we call it. On that note, unmuting and muting, we have with us Director of IBWS, Amita Prasad ma'am. Amita Prasad ma'am, will you please say a few words to our distinguished speaker here today? As for the list, Amita Prasad ma'am is there. I think Amita Prasad ma'am is not there. We have Jaya Parikh ma'am with us, I believe. Priyanka ma'am, would you please kindly just check the chat box? Jaya Parikh ma'am, if you're there with us. I don't have the list of the participants right in front of me, so I have my colleagues assisting me on that. Jaya Parikh ma'am is also not there. Very unfortunate that Jaya Parikh ma'am is also not there with us. If they join us later on, we can definitely have our guests speaking. This time, physically, we have the director of BD Memorial with us, Suman Sood ma'am. Ma'am, if you please kindly come up and say a few words. A very good morning. I think good afternoon. No morning still. A very good morning. We are very, very honored to have Mr. Pawan Gupta here amongst us. Pawan sir is really a phenomenal personality. The course that is being conducted by him and Mr. Arun, I've been following that for the past 4 weeks. Today is the last day, and we have the winding up session in the evening. I'm so fortunate, and I agree. I'm sure all the teachers here, also from our school, who are part of this course, will agree with me that it is life changing. It makes you so self reflective. And so we are really looking forward to your words of wisdom today. And I'm sure the teachers here and the teachers in charge and the heads who are all present, they are going to benefit by it, and they are going to look forward to ways of changing themselves. Because what you say is really important, that we need to change ourselves so that we can bring in a change in the society, in the education system. I know it's not easy, But even if I feel as an educator, if we manage to bring in change in even one student, then I think our work is done. So thank you, sir, for being here with us. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Now, without further ado, I would request our dear principal, ma'am, to please come up here and formally welcome our guest and felicitate him. Good morning, everyone. It is indeed a pleasure and an honor to have Shri Pawan Kumar Gupta ji with us. Actually, I've been hearing so much from my teachers who are attending this course, as Suman Sood ma'am said. I really thought that we were missing out on something, and we wanted that all my teachers should get some benefit from sir. So the moment they said that sir would be in town for a day, and if they could try to get sir for us, I immediately agreed to it, and I said, of course we should, so that all our teachers can at least get benefited, or at least some thought-provoking things could come for all of us. I'm here, Priyanka ma'am. Can I please, sir, a small token gift for you? Thank you so much, sir. And I take this pleasure to welcome you here to our school. And without wasting any more time, I would like you to start this. Thank you so much. Before sir takes over, just 1 second. Because we are doing everything new here, so there are certain things I just need to inform everybody who is here and those who are attending it online. First of all, we are extremely happy that you are here with us. So I have to mention that virtually we are using Google Meet, and also we are going live on YouTube. So I would request our audience to please start posting their questions. I mean, we'll have a session for 1.5 hours or something, 1 hour, 1.5 hours. Please start posting your questions in those who are in Google Meet. Please start writing in the chat box. Please keep yourself muted and your cameras off. That is something we all know. And in the comment section also, in the YouTube, you can post your questions. We are all here so that we can take your questions up. And after Mr. Gupta has presented his entire session, we'll have the question answer session where I and my team, we will take up the questions that you have posted anywhere in the Google Meet chat box or in the YouTube comment section, and we'll communicate with Mr. Gupta, and he will give you the answers, and we'll have the session like that. Let's hope for the best, keeping my fingers crossed. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Shall I start?
Yes.
I don't have to read this. First of all, thank you for inviting me here, which I was really not prepared for. I was just passing through Calcutta, and I don't know how Rinty found out that I was in Calcutta, and she contacted me, and I didn't want to play it very hard. So I agreed to come and be with you for a while. I'm very thankful to all the people over here. Principal Madam Vijaya Chaudhary ji, Vice Principal Tapashi Mukherjee ji, Ruma Basu ji, Suman Sood ji, and Amita Prasad ji. And all of you here, and especially Priyanka and Rinty, who have been part of the course that we have been conducting, also Sumanji, we have been conducting online for the past almost 4 weeks. Today is the last day. I wish I spoke Bengali fluently, because what I have to say comes out much better in an Indian language. The second choice would have been for me to speak in Hindi, because that is my language. But it is a misfortune that in our country, whenever we have to speak across regions, we always revert to English, a foreign language, which we are trying hard to make an Indian language. But I think it will take 7 or 8 or 10 generations before it becomes our language, so to say. Because languages are not just about communicating information. Language is also for communicating feelings, for communicating cultural nuances, for communicating knowledge, most of all. And my experience has been that knowledge and cultural nuances are best communicated in our Indian languages. There are many words in our languages which are just not there in English. For instance, I'll use the word dharma. In English, it gets translated as religion, but that is not the word of, that's not the meaning of dharma. Truly speaking, it's something far more wider, far more in depth, and there is no English translation for it. This is just one example. There's another one, swatantrata. In English, we translate it as freedom, but freedom has a completely different connotation from what swatantrata actually means. So this is just to give you a few examples. Anyhow, this is our limitation. So I will speak in English. I will use some Indian language words from time to time just to improve my communication with you. Let me give you a small background of my journey. Not because I want to talk about myself. I am basically a shy person, and I am very uncomfortable when people talk, like just now to introduce, that has become almost a formality to say very nice things about the speaker or the invitee. It's a good thing, it's a good practice, but I become very uncomfortable, and I find that it is not the entire truth. Nor is it, it raises expectations unnecessarily among the listeners. So with that, I apologize, and I am going to talk to you from my heart, not so much from my mind. The two are not completely separate. So I will use my mind, but I will, when I say I will talk from my heart, I mean that I will be as authentic as possible in what I say. My journey, as if I have had two births. So my previous life sort of ended in 1987, 88. And I entered a new phase of my life when I shifted from Calcutta to Mussoorie in the hills. And my intention of going there was only very simple. I was deeply into Buddhism at that time. So I wanted, and I was also very, very interested in, even though my background qualification is engineering, but I was deeply interested in psychology, and particularly Jungian psychology. And I saw a correlation between Jungian psychology and Buddhism. So that was my passion at that time. I also used to do meditation, Vipassana meditation. So my trip at that time was that I want to live in a very quiet place, and I want to do serious study on Buddhism and psychology, and I want to practice meditation to get to know what it is all about. While staying there, I used to, just out of curiosity, I used to go into the villages around Mussoorie. Just if you step out of Mussoorie, it's a hill station established by the British. But if you step 5 kilometers outside of Mussoorie, it is surrounded by villages. So I used to go there because I was romantically in love with those villages, the houses, the people. You know, one living in city, one has very quaint and romantic idea of the hills and the people of the hills. So I was fulfilling my dream. I used to go there, and after 5 or 6 visits, people come to know you. I mean, in the sense, at least they recognize you. Because they are small little villages, 20 families, 15 families in a village, very, very small place. So one day, the village pradhan asked me that it seems you are not doing anything. By that doing, he meant a job. So I said, yes, I'm not doing anything. He said that why don't you teach our children? Give some time because we don't have a school, the children don't have a place to go to. You come and teach them if you can. I said, okay, I'll do that as long as you give me a space. So he provided me a room like this, smaller than this. And we started going there, me and my wife, for a couple of hours every day, 3 hours. Then it extended to 4 hours and like that. I won't go into the detail. What the point I'm trying to make is, after we became familiar with these women, we became friendly, let's say. The relationship, today our relationship, you and me, is a bit formal, right? We will say all the nice things, we will just talk at the surface. But if we meet 10 times, 20 times, and then you become relaxed and you start talking about yourself. So once our relationship between us and the women, village women, became more relaxed, more comfortable, they started telling us many things. They said, this education of yours, that didn't mean that what I was doing. They were making a generic statement. This education has ruined our children. Ruined was the word. Badbaad ho gaye. Then they said, the bacche, and they said in Hindi, ye bacche na ghar ke rehte hain, na ghat ke rehte hain. They are neither here nor there. The third thing they said, and this has become the mantra of my life, even today. One woman said, भाई साहब इनको होना सिखाओ, दिखना दिखाना मत सिखाओ. आपका स्कूल दिखना दिखाना सिखाता है. This has become till date my mantra in life. If you ask me, what is your trip, Pawan, in life? What do you want to be? I'll say, I want to be jaisa main hu, waisa main dikhu. And I must be comfortable with that. If I'm that, everything is fine with me. Or kuch chahiye nahi. I'll unravel this for you in a little bit. So when we when we heard these things, they didn't make much sense to me. We didn't understand what were they trying to say. And it didn't gel with my own arrogance of the educated, The educated person has a hidden arrogance, which is huge. I was not aware of it, but it was there. And coming from Calcutta, going to IIT, you can imagine, the kind of arrogance that we carry, which we try and, sort of camouflage under false humility, but it's there. So it took me a long while to understand what they were saying. When I started observing the kids very, very, very minutely, I realized that they are ashamed of themselves. The educated children, the educated class, I would say, somewhere they are ashamed of who they are. The who they are is decided by our cultural moorings more than anything else, by our language, by the way we conduct our life at home, the way we sit, the way we eat, the kind of food we have, different kind of practices at home. In the society we live, the knowledge system which exists there, the norms which exist there, the practices which exist at our home, those somewhere we start feeling, to a lesser or larger degree, it depends from person to person, from place to place, but by and large, we start feeling uncomfortable with who we are. And this was happening to these kids. The kids were, after going to school, they were almost ashamed of using their own language which was Jaunpuri. There is a Jaunpur near Banaras. The area I'm working is also called Jaunpur. It's a so-called tribal area in the Garhwal Himalayas. So they started uncomfortable speaking in their own language. They thought it was backward. And for them, Hindi was forward, and of course, English was far superior. So there's a hierarchy. First Jaunpuri, then Hindi, and then English. This is the kind of thing. When I started looking at other people, let's say Doon School students, Doon School is supposed to be the epitome of, Rajiv Gandhi has gone there, Sanjay Gandhi has gone there, and I think even this Rahul Gandhi has gone there for a few years. So it's a who's who kind of a school. I observed that the children there, and if you look at them very minutely, you find out that yes, this complex is there too, but it is camouflaged. I also observed, in Mussoorie is full of schools, and these schools are 100, 150, 200 years old. Now there are two kinds of schools in Mussoorie. Let me tell you a little bit, because you basically are from school background, so there is one school called the Woodstock School. This Woodstock School is also a missionary school, but a Protestant missionary American school. The rest of the old schools, like the Weinberg Allen and the St. George's and several of them, they are basically Catholic missionary schools established by the British. So there's a difference. This is an American, those are British old. Now, of course, there's no influence of British, they're all Indians there. When you look at these two students from the American school and from the other schools, in the American school, there are Indians, but those Indians are hardly Indians. They're mostly NRIs or, children of film stars and very top-ranking IAS officers, etc., etc. So they are anyways very, very highly Americanized. I won't say anglicized, I will say Americanized. There's a difference between being anglicized and being Americanized. These are Americanized children. In the other kind of schools, you will find mostly middle class, upper middle class Indians. You meet these two children and you observe them very, very minutely. You will find that the children going to Weinberg Allen, St. George's, etc., where the upper middle class Indians go, if you ask them a question, they are either shy or they will show off. They will show off. They'll try to act smart. Woodstock children, they are confident that they are smart. They have that because they are Americanized. So they have that confidence, they are smart. But they will give you a straight answer. If they don't know, they will say, I don't know, tell me. If they know, they will give you an answer. These other children are always self-conscious. What I'm saying is that there is a self-consciousness in the Indian English medium school children you will find. They are all the time trying to see how you are looking at them. They are never comfortable in their own skin. Exceptions are there, of course. I'm just talking very generally. So this problem I'm trying to figure you out. When I'm listening, I'm trying to figure it out. When I'm studying, I'm trying to figure it out. When I'm walking in the street, I'm trying to figure it out. When I go to a restaurant and I'm served a new thing, I'm trying to figure it out. Whether I should eat, I should not eat. We are all the time trying to make sense of things. This making sense, how does it happen in the human mind? It happens through a shield, a filter of perception. We receive, it goes through that filter of perception. So we see something which has come out of that filter, and we not necessarily that we see as it is. You may be a very kind person, but I perceive you as a very angry person. Or you may be a very troubled person, but I see you as a very happy person, vice versa. This seeing is coming out of my perception. So perception is never perfect. It is full of assumptions. It is full of our sanskaras. It is full of our right or wrong. It is full of our beliefs hidden from us, assumptions hidden from us. It is full of our psychological issues also. So it is contaminated by all kinds of things, and we are seeing the world through that. So the thing is like A, but we are perceiving it as B. This is what is happening all the time. Education plays a major role in either influencing that filter of perception or in cleansing it. Both the alternatives are there. It can cleanse it so that it becomes more clear and you see things more as they are, or it can contaminate it so that you really see something else other than what it is. So the British were very clear that our education, the British education, is giving us a perception so that we start looking down upon whatever is our own and looking up upon their ways. This we need to understand, even if it was painful for me. When I understood this, it was because I had to start questioning everything of my own. I had the similar perceptions, that arrogance of having studied in a big metropolitan city, the arrogance of going to IIT, the arrogance of speaking in English, the arrogance of knowing the ways of the world. These are all hidden, but this is there. So I suddenly it became very, very clear that what they are saying, you also are suffering from the same malaise. It was painful. But it became a little less painful when you start seeing everyone around you. Everyone is suffering from this, so the pain becomes a little less. And nevertheless, my attention went there. And then that is the time my real journey started. My journey, that's why I call it my second birth. So today I say that it is all about perception. All our big people, great people in India, and I will have to say India because the kind of greatness which India has, I find it, I'm not saying it doesn't exist anywhere else, it does, but the quantum of those kind of human beings which have existed in India and still exist is far, far more than any other country. All these people, whether it was Ramakrishna, whether it was Ramana Maharshi, whether it was Krishnamurti, whether it was Sri Aurobindo, you name it. I mean, we've had so many of them. Basically, my feeling is they were trying to cleanse the perception, ultimately. Clean the perception because things are the way they are. You can see them, but you are seeing them through a filter. How do you cleanse your perception? Now, having said that, because the time is very short, ideally, what I have to say, I need about at least 2 days, if not 3, at least. In fact, the journey starts and then it is always better to have a one-to-one interaction between people because the communication which happens between small group or between two individuals is very powerful. We don't have those kind of conversations anymore. We have arguments. We have debates. We don't have dialogues. And we don't even differentiate between a dialogue and a debate. We think argument is the only way to understand. No, it is not. Because, can we have the slide?
Yes. Just give me one.
I'll continue you.
Yes.
Because essentially in our education, we are not laying emphasis on the difference, the very important difference between meaning and the word. We don't talk about it. These are two words. This is a word, this is a word. And we know that there's somewhere they are different, but we don't really pay attention to it. When I ask people, what is the difference between meaning and word? They stumble because they've never thought about it. Now I'm asking right now, please think about it. The difference between these two words, they're both words, but what lies behind this? Words are essentially an indicator, right? It's something that you hear or something that you read. That's all. It's a skill. Writing is a skill and speaking also is a skill. So you are listening or reading a word, but for what? To understand. And what do you want to understand? You want to understand what lies behind it. What lies behind it? Does it have a language? A word has a language. Word is in language. Bangla, Hindi, English, French, German, Tamil. Word is always in language. But what is the language of meaning? It is beyond language, right? Where does it exist? It exists here, but what is the meaning of water? For instance, I can say the meaning is, whether you know the meaning of water or not, water, the meaning of water is, it's existential. That is something that we need to ponder about. When I say meaning is, words come later on. We have named them in different languages. In today's education, we are laying emphasis on the word and not on the meaning. We try and go from the word to the meaning. This is our mode of communication. Yes, that's the only choice. But are we aware? Are we aware that this is existential? And this is for anyone. There is no IPR on it. There is no ownership of it. It is for everyone to pay attention and get it. We have made a hierarchy of words. Bangla, Hindi at one level, English at another level. What is this? What is English? A language. What lies behind it? There is no language. Just keeping this in your mind removes this inferiority about our own languages. This is a byproduct of that. So, I'm in a very short time, I'm telling you my life journey, how I came. This is not something that I can take credit for it. It is there, and I have spoken to many great people. That has been if you ask me, what is your greatest takeaway from life, I would say the greatest takeaway is that I've met some great people in my life. And I did not deserve it. I did not do anything. It happened. And all this I'm telling you is come from there. So what I'm trying to only do this in half an hour that is left, I don't know, or 40 minutes. I'll speak till 1 o'clock or little less. No, because there's question, answers and all that. Anyway, I'll try and finish by 1:45 and see. Yeah.
Sir, whatever you're talking about, everybody can see it. The presentation that you said, your audience can see it.
Yeah. Okay. So I am going to present a list of distinctions. I call this a distinction. Meaning is not word, but the two are related. They are not separate. Word is for meaning, but the priority, the existential part lies here. This part is. Ye hai. That woman who told me, hona sikhao, dikhna dikhana mat sikhao. This is the hai part. And this is the dikhna part, ya sunna part. This is not the hai part. This is given. We hear this, we read this. This is sensorial. This is beyond senses. Yeah? I am again, I will try and point your attention that out of the two, they are related. It is not either or. It is not that not that. It is not like that. Both are there. But which is the priority? The priorities of the meaning. This comes, if there is no meaning, then word has no, then hoo-ha, like a kid speaks, no? Some rubbish can be there, but that has no meaning. So this is dependent on this. This is not dependent on this. This is what we need to understand. Meaning is not dependent on the word. The word is dependent on the word. But this is needed as well for communication. It's not rubbish. So the two are related, but this is hai, hona. This is the hona side, hai side, and this is the dikhna dikhana side. Okay, this is what I'm just trying to make that map in your mind. The woman said, "Aap unko hona sikhao." Now, what is hona? Being. This is the appearing side. Appearance. My spelling is all wonky, so just padha raha hai, spelling bhi nahi aata. Don't say that. I apologize. Or when I start writing, I become so self-conscious. My handwriting is so bad that or even the doing. One side is the being side, the hona side, and then there is the appearance side. Like there is something happening within me right now, and I am trying to communicate that to you. So you are seeing me, my body. You are seeing that you are hearing the words that I'm speaking. That is all the appearance side. The point is, the two are connected again, like meaning and word. But which is of priority? What is dependent on what? This side is dependent on this. That's how it should be, right? And this must flow from here. Now, what is happening today? What is happening today? People are only focusing here, right? I must look good. No? I must look smart. I must use the right words. I must quote a few people, Nobel laureates and XYZ. Why? Why? To look good. to impress people. Okay? What happens to this? Because the essential, the isness lies here. The same thing goes for dialogue and arguments and debate dialogue that I was talking. When you are having a dialogue, if you and I have a dialogue, what happens is, the process is like this. You speak, I hear your words, but my focus is not on your words. My attention is, what are you meaning? What is your intention? Where are you coming from to your meaning? And then I respond with compassion to that meaning, and I ask you, is this what you're meaning? I feel it should maybe like this. So you are not arguing. You are trying to have a conversation to go and converge towards the truth. So both of you are partners in the search for isness. That is a dialogue. The isness lies. I am in a conversation not to argue with each other, but to go towards that isness, so that
ये उतना नहीं था, ये उस दिन वाला बहुत अच्छा, मीठा ही नहीं था, रस भी था.
And debate or argument. Here, in a debate and argument, the objective is to win. The objective is to defeat you. In a dialogue, no. You want to look for the existential truth. And both of you are co-partners in trying to find that. It's a beautiful thing, because your focus is on the meaning. This, are we teaching a dialogue in education system that prevails in the country? We are teaching debate. So you give a student a topic and you say, look, for, and we're going to speak against the motion. Now, that child has no choice. His conviction is for the motion, but he has been told that you speak against the motion. Right? Now, what is he doing? See what happens, how you are influencing his perception. He believes you. He thinks my people who are telling me this are doing it for my own good. So he thinks this is the way of the world. You may feel one way, but you speak the other way. You feel for the motion, but you are arguing against the motion. So you think this is all right. What's the harm in it? I'm learning how to argue. Well, by all means, learn how to argue. But where is your authenticity? Where is your search for truth? Can we not have these kind of, instead of debate, can we not have a dialogue in schools? I don't think it is impossible. But we have never paid attention to it, because it happened in Indian schools 200, 250 years ago. The dialogues, we used to call it samvad. Samvad. Vad is one. Vad is debate. Samvad becomes something else. You are trying to go towards the truth, both of you. Samvad. Samvad is dialogue. Today we have vivad. This is the difference. So, where the point again and again I'm trying to say is that, can we not bring reality, existential reality, the truth in our education? Can we not do it? I think it is possible. When you are in a class, look for the existential truth in whatever you are teaching. Whatever you are teaching. Irrespective of the subject you are teaching. this and this is always there. Another thing that I would like to point out specifically because it's a school. See, there is object and there is subject. There is objective and means. I like you to pay attention to this. There is an objective, which is, objective is I want to survive. I want to live well. Right? What are the means to live well? The means to live, one of the means to live well is only means. Of course, today it has become as if that is the only thing. But one of the means is money. I am saying money is a means. Money is not an objective. Because you cannot do anything with your money. Anything with your money unless and until you spend it to buy that which you consume. You cannot consume money directly. Money is a means to buy which you consume. Right? Money is a means. It always has been means. The objective is the object that you buy with it, which you consume. Are we differentiating between objective and means? I am not saying this is rubbish, please. This is not either or. It is either and or. But what comes first? This comes first. And the means always can be more than one. Means are very seldom that this is the only way to get it. No. There are several ways to get it. Get what? The objective. Similarly, subject, whether it is physics or chemistry or history or geography or social science, subjects, what are they existential? Are subjects existential? Subjects are man-made categories. We have made these categories. When I was studying in school 60 years ago, 50 years ago, geography was a certain set of categories. Today, geography is much larger. It's not the same geography as it was 50 years ago. Same thing for many other subjects. The categories keep changing. Subjects are not fixed. Subjects keep changing with time. New subjects evolve. Today, many subjects in digital technology must have been introduced in schools. They were not there 50 years ago. So subjects keep evolving. Subjects keep changing. But basically, subjects are a category. They are not the object. And what are we studying for? What is this life all about? We want to study objects. We want to make sense out of things. Anything. My child, my husband, my in-laws, my family, my friends. I want to make sense out of them. Who is this? What? My God, I never knew this person was like this. Oh, he's like this. I never knew. So we are constantly trying to make sense out of things. A mobile phone, the first time it came in your hand, you had to make sense of it. So you are trying to understand. This is a human trait. This is a part of your beingness. A child also tries to make sense. An old person also tries to make a sense. You're trying to make sense out of things all the time. And for that, you need tools. So education says, well, these are the subjects through which you can now understand. These are the books, the textbooks through which you can now understand. A textbook is a tool. Subjects are a tool. They are not the object or objective. To understand them, you have created subjects. You have created, man has created subjects. what has happened today? We have placed subjects and means on the top of the hierarchy, and we are focused on subjects and means, and this is gone for a 6. Our focus is here. I'm not saying they're rubbish. All I'm saying is, let's be aware that subjects are a means, just like money is a means. It cannot be the final end. So, I am only trying. I'm not teaching you. I don't know how to teach. I am drawing your attention, knowing that you people are human beings. All of us are human beings. And in our beingness, our perception has got distorted. And I'm trying to share with you my own learning over the years. To be able to start seeing, it doesn't happen in a day, but if you start paying attention, you suddenly start seeing that these two are different. One, this is dependent on this. This is not dependent on this. Number one, this is existential. This is not existential. But this is needed. It's not to be thrown out. But let's use this. Let's not get used by this. Just like let's not get used by money. Let's not get used, sucked up by the subject. Let's not get used by categories. The categories we have created. There is, in existence, there is no category. There are patterns, there are no categories. Well, the list is very long. I don't think I can go through everything. But I will say that if anything has made any sense to you in this talk, then please pay attention to the rest. And this is not an exhaustive list. It's not the end. It can go on and on and on. The point is, we need to cleanse our perception. And I feel these kind of distinctions help you and others to cleanse that perception to some extent. Because you get an entry into that. That's all. So you get an entry. So you don't get, ultimately, you see, if someone asks me, what do you want to do? What do you want to do with humanity? I would say, I would like everyone to stop getting impressed and stop impressing others. Khatam baat. Stop, get out of this game of impressing the other, making an impression on the other, and getting impressed by the other. Because every time you are impressing the other or getting impressed, you are doing it from this side, appearance side. This is what influences you. But this is not the actuality. Actuality is here. What is? So focus on isness. You can't drop this. Let your appearance or your doing part emanate from here on its own, effortlessly, spontaneously. Let it come out. It will come out. Don't be scared. It will come out. If you're clear about the meaning, the words will flow. The words will flow. You don't have to mug up. You don't have to think. It will flow. This clarity is needed. You know. So, as a teacher, I think I said books are a means. I said subjects are a means. I am not saying teacher is a means. A teacher in the school is the most important person in the class. Most important, most powerful. But do we realize our power? And I'm talking of the power which is invisible. I'm not talking of the power like the authority which has been given to you. I'm not talking of that. I'm not talking from the administrative side. I'm not talking from the appearance side. I am talking from the influence you can exert on the child that you are interacting with. you can do in spite of all the restrictions of curriculum, restrictions of textbooks, restrictions of time, everything. All those limitations are there. There's nothing new. We are all struggling with that. In spite of that, you can talk about, draw the attention of the child towards the isness, even in the subject. Let me give you a few examples, and before I finish, 3-4 examples I'll give you of my own experiences. How to teach existentially. I was taking a class in maths, ratio and proportion. Now, ratio and proportion is a big issue with children, my experience. Addition, multiplication, division also, fine. But when they come to ratio and proportion, problem. So I thought that if ratio and proportion is existential, then there must be a way to communicate this. I thought and thought. And then I went to the class and I asked my children, because they are all from village background, or they are from the village. They work at home. I said, can you make tea? Now ratio and proportion is in class 6, approximately. Can you make tea? The children nodded. Yes, we can make tea. Can you make, no, I asked them, what goes into making of a tea? I mean, I'm also drawing your attention how powerful questions can be. Questions, we normally ask questions only to elicit information. I'm saying questions are the most powerful thing to draw the attention of the child or the listener towards that space where business lies. Okay? So I am using the question as a tool to draw their children's attention to isness. So what do? What goes into making of a tea? I know it. I'm not trying to get information. I'm trying to draw their attention. So they say tea leaves, water, sugar, and milk. Of course, other lawang and all that. I said leave that out. The 4 main ingredients are water, milk, sugar, and tea leaves. Fine. I wrote it down. Then I asked them, can you make 2 cups of tea? Yes, sir, we can make 2 cups of tea. Fine. Can you make 10 cups of tea? Yes, sir, we can make 10 cups of tea. The taste in 2 cups and 10 cups will be the same. Of course, it will be the same. 2 cups of tea, these 4 things you put there in some quantity. In 10 cups, all the same quantity. No. In 10 cups, we had to put more sugar, more water, more milk, more. How come the taste is same? This was my question. Everything changes. Water has changed, milk has changed, sugar has changed, tea leaves has changed. How come, mind you, they are not you, they are small children. How come the taste remains the same in 2 cups and 10 cups? Now, just leave them with this question. Don't give an answer. Uncomfortable 2, 4, 5 minutes. What will happen? Imagine what is happening in the child's mind. Just imagine this. The child is struggling. He has got hooked. Yes, kuch to mamla hai. There is something in this. What is the matter? He starts paying attention. I am drawing his attention towards here because it is existential. So there is no IPR. It's not just because it's written in the book. It is existential. Ratio and proportion is existential. He doesn't get it, but he is looking in the right direction. And then I say, I am rich, you are poor. We are friends. Tomorrow I become poor, you become rich. We can still be friends. Yes. What is this called? This is called sambandh, relationship. Krishna and Sudama, relationship. Relationship doesn't matter rich, poor. Kabhi ye rich, kabhi wo rich. This sambandh is, in mathematical language, we call it ratio proportion. Then I taught them ratio proportion. Believe me, they got it faster. Why? Because I had already drawn their attention in that direction and they were struggling where the answer lies. This is one example. The other example is, once I went into, this was class 8, I said, do you lie? So everyone kept quiet. How can they tell the teacher that we lie? So I said, yaar, kabhi kabhi main bhi jhoot bolta hu. Tum bhi bolte ho. Haan sir, yes. They understood. They relaxed. So I said, tell me, why do you lie? So they kept quiet. After some time they said, we don't want to be scolded. So we lie because we don't want to be scolded. We lie and escape. We don't want to be beaten up. We lie and we get this thing. Then one child said, we lie because we want the shabashi of the teacher. I said, how? He says the teacher explains something. We don't understand. But he says, have you understood? And he said, yes. And he says, shabash. This feels very good. So I wrote down all these things. Then, next class, I mean, this took a long time. I'm telling you in 2 minutes, but it took a long time because you need patience, you need to plot them and all that. The idea is my questions are to draw their attention to this. Then, next class, I said, do you speak the truth? Again, there was a silence. That they said, we lie. How can they say we speak the truth? I said, look, the biggest liar in the world also must be speaking the truth sometimes. I'm not saying all times. I'm saying, do you speak the truth? They understand. Yes, we speak the truth. Why do you speak the truth? There's so many benefits of lying. So then they thought, believe me, long time. But they said, because we want friendship, दोस्ती चाहिए. कौन चाहिए दोस्ती? नहीं, दोस्ती तो एक दोस्त होना ही चाहिए. We want friendship is very important. Now this is existential. Relationship is very important. It's existential. Those of us who do not have relationship crave for it. We may not have, but it is this deep-seated desire to have a relationship. So दोस्त चाहिए, ठीक है? Business. Then I said, दोस्त तो चाहिए, but इसमें सच का क्या मतलब है? So they said, the friendship के लिए trust is a must. विश्वास. If there is no trust, there is no friendship. और trust के लिए सच बोलना जरूरी है. They drew, I'm not exaggerating, I was aghast when they drew this kind of formula. I got, speaking the truth is related to trust, is related to friendship. This came out. Then another class, I said, okay, this is the benefit of speaking the truth. This is the benefit of speaking the lie. What is the difference between these categories? Long time. All this thing took me 5 hours at least on different days. So they said that speaking the lie is short-lived. Doesn't last long. It gets caught. The second thing which came out is when you are speaking the lie, you know what is right. That's why you speak the lie. These two things came out. Why do you speak the truth? But the quality of speaking the truth, the benefits are long term. Long term. This is short term, this is long term. But khatam baat. I did not say Now you must speak the truth. I did not say. I left it at that. Let the virus work inside them. Even if I say now you must speak the truth, are they going to speak the truth? They will do what they will do. But at least they've understood the fundas, the fundamental of this thing, the isness behind it. Let them struggle. This is one example. The mistakes we make in teaching, there are three mistakes we make. The classical way of teaching is, in our school, that is how we were taught. C-A-T, cat, mane billi. This is the classical way of teaching, whether maths, whether science, whether geography, whether history. You start with the unknown, C. Unknown A, unknown T, unknown to the child. Cat is also unknown to the child because it's a foreign language. In the end, you give a word which the child may know. If it's zebra, the child may not even know zebra. So you are starting with the unknown and then you are going to the known. The right way to teach is, what is that? The child will say, oh, Billy. That is Billy. He already knows. Oh, that is Billy. Oh, in English we call it cat. And this is how we spell cat, with these three arbitrary drawings. These are just figures. These are just something. C means nothing in itself. So we go from the real to the word, to the meaning, to the word. This is how most subjects we started teaching. The mistake we make is another one. We say the sun rises from the east. The sun doesn't rise. You are going down and round. So you see sun as rising. The sun is stationary over there, as far as the earth is concerned. Maybe in a larger order, even that is moving. That's a different thing. Sun is not rising. Secondly, you say it rises from the east. Is east existential? There is no direction in the universe. We have named it. That is east. We'll call this west. We'll call this north. We'll call that south. We have given the names. So we have started teaching the direction from which the earth, the sun appears to rise. We name it east. We call that direction, we are calling that direction east. There's nothing existential about it. Just this way of teaching has differentiated between the word and the meaning, between the existential and the categories. So we try and do this every single time. You can find the way you are teaching in that also, similar things must be happening. We are emphasizing on the word. I am saying shift from here to isness and then introduce the word. The isness is that the earth, the sun does not rise. It's an appearance. When we teach, the light travels at so many miles per second, and we teach it as truth. There is a problem. We need to say, some scientists have discovered that the speed of light is this and this. We don't know. We are believing those scientists. There's a world of a difference. Because the mind then differentiates between what we are believing and what we know. We don't know the speed of light. Someone knows. Yes, we believe that person. Or we believe that institute. Corona is deadly. We don't know. We don't know. We are believing. My uncle is 87. I am 67. My entire family has had corona, including 87-year-old man. And my aunt who's 79. We were fine in 4 or 5 days. Nothing much. Fever 99, 99.5. And I took Siddha and Ayurveda medicines and homeopathy. They scared the entire world. Why fear? Take precautions. Wear your mask if you have to. Do whatever, keep social distancing. All that is fine. Why so much to fear? Fear is unnecessary. Precaution and fear are not together. Let there be precaution. Why scare everyone? Perception. So, basically, my submission is that don't believe me, you don't have to agree with me. I have just presented what we have been trying to do through education. Because education is the only tool we have to correct the perceptions. The media, the newspapers, the world of advertising is bent upon creating your perception, one way or the other. So today's child doesn't even know the difference between truth and opinion. Today's child doesn't even know the difference between truth and fact. Today's child doesn't even know the difference between truth and ideology, between truth and information. So everything has got jumbled up. And therefore, he is the easiest prey for influencing and molding the perception. We as teachers have the power to retrieve that power within ourselves and do something for the society through that little child who is with us. Thank you. I'll stop here. I can go on and on. So, yes, thank you for listening and welcome. Any questions?
So we have yeah. I think I'm audible to everyone. Yeah. I think I'm audible to everyone. So our vice principal ma'am is here. So the first question ma'am has asked is that communication is based on language. So how the idea of meaning comes first. So basically she says that communication is based on language. So how meaning comes first?
Communication of what? You? Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
The meaning of the communication is impact inside, and we say the words,
Yeah.
we communicate through words.
Yes.
So, meaning,
Yeah. There is the speaker or the reader. Or the writer. He has a meaning within, which he converts into a word, W1. The word can be in Bangla, in Hindi, in English, in French. This has no meaning. This has no language. This goes to the listener or the reader. This is where communication is happening, you are saying. I am saying communication starts from here. This is the thing that you want to communicate. This is a tool that you're using. If you speak to me, you speak in English. If you speak to your colleague, you speak in Malayalam. This is a tool. The essential is this, which you're trying to communicate. And the listener also hears a word first through the ear, right? Hopefully, he will hear you correctly. You are wearing a mask, maybe he will not even hear you correctly. But let's assume he hears. So W1. Okay? Then he interprets W1. interprets it. This interpretation is happening from where? Perception. Right? So he may interpret it empty. He may. Okay? And he may nod his head. Yes, I've got it. You will assume M1, he's got M1. Actually, he's got M2. Happens. Then you say, no, I didn't mean that. This happens between husband and wife all the time. You say, word is a tool. Of course we use that. But what has happened is that we have focused him. So we use the right word, we try to be polite, we try to be, see, I touch your feet. Does it mean I have a feeling of respect? It may be there. Right? Touching your feet is an action, is a sensorial thing. That is like W1. The respect I have for you is this. What we are teaching today is touch the feet. Do this, say hello, hi, give a smile. Good, all very good. But if it is false, then what kind of a world are we making? The essential is that feeling with it, that meaning with it. Yeah? So we are not teaching the child what is respect. We are saying this is respect. This is a demonstration of respect. It is not respect. So how will you teach the child respect? Say, can you think of someone you think, some elderly person, you feel good when you think about that person. Some teacher, some relative, someone. Whenever you think of that person, you feel good. You feel grateful, you feel good. That is respect. And that you demonstrate like this, touch feet. So we are not doing it. See, so that's why I say everything is become word focused. The visible part, the sensorial part, the manifested part, the doing part. That may be right, it may be false. So and actually the world, you like a word which is authentic. I mean, you as a person, you will like the other person is honest with you. It's authentic. If he says, you're that very cool, you will like that person is speaking the truth. Right? So you cannot leave authenticity. So all I'm saying is, this is of course but see, when we are doing a dance club, or when we are doing, I can communicate without words also. That I have respect for you does not necessarily it needs words. It can get communicated. So a sense is this. This is an important tool, but it is still a tool. That's all.
The next question, sir, is from Sood ma'am. The feeling of being uncomfortable with whom we are is the fact that we are too bothered about what others think about us. Okay, so how can we avoid this while we are staying in the society?
See, what is happening is that we have been trained, all of us, we have been trained to evaluate ourselves. And this is a human trait. This is also part of isness, that we are all the time trying to evaluate ourselves and the other. Today we are evaluating, we have gotten, this is our training. We evaluate by how others look at us. Right? We have been trained. So we have given over the power to the others. If they say you're good, you feel good. If they say you're bad, you feel bad. If they say you are smart, you feel that. Yeah, like that. You've handed over the thing to them. So what is, and the others are different. Someone is like A, another person is B, another person is C. They're not common. It's not common. So what? See, it starts with childhood. You have a child at home. Guest comes to your place. And you say, Ho, sing that poem. And the child sings a poem. And everyone claps out of politeness. And the child gets hooked to that clapping. और जिंदगी भर उसको ताली चाहिए. So he does anything to get a clap. So he gets used to doing drama. And he starts evaluating it. When he gets a clap, he says, I'm good. When he doesn't get the clap, he's not. What needs to be done? You need to look at the isness side. No, see, said, impress, stop getting impressed, stop impressing people. What do? Just all impress, this whole thing of impressing or getting impressed is in the appearance side. How you look, how others perceive you. If you focus here, examine yourself. What are the qualities that inspire you? Let's say in others. What are the qualities which inspire you? You will say knowledge inspires me, courage inspires me, honesty inspires me, integrity inspires me, etc. That inspires me. What you get influenced by? The style, the clothes, the material possessions, the degree, etc. It all the visible side. If you shift and see that this is okay, but the sense is over here, then you start evaluating yourself on those qualities.
Mindset needs to change.
But by attention, then you say, if you keep on paying attention to this, you see, if it makes sense to you, I'm not saying it not like a sermon, not like a Upadesh. If you see the existential side of it, what is real? You look at the people in your life, people you have read, you heard, etc., and you make a list of people who you really admire, and see if there is even one person you really admire who is on this side or who is on that side. You'll find you always admire people who have quality. Quality is what you admire. Quantity is something you get impressed by. Quality is, today, this is fashionable. Tomorrow there will be fatawa jeans will be fashionable. So, people, I find it so ridiculous. In India, torn clothes, believe me, I've read about it. Even a poor person would not wear torn clothes because it was considered to be apashukar. He may wear a slightly dirty cloth, but torn, he will stitch it and wear it. It was supposed to be not good, not auspicious. Today, you're buying jeans, I'm told, for 10,000 rupees. Torn jeans. Is it rational? We talk about rationality. We talk about logic. Where is it all gone? Perception has been molded, and you think that this will impress the other. And you are so self-conscious that if you don't wear torn jeans, you say, my God, what will people think? This is what is happening. There is a film on YouTube. There's a person called Edward Bernays. This guy was the nephew of Sigmund Freud. And he could not find a job. He was brilliant, but he could not find a job in a university because he used to stammer, speech defect. He went to America in the 20s and he found a job with a cigarette company, Philip Morris. He was given a job that you increase our sales of cigarettes. You know what he did? That time in America in 1920s, women were taking out protest marches because they did not have the right to vote. They did not have voting rights, only men had. We think America is very advanced and all that. 1920, they did not have voting rights. So women used to take out these marches saying that we need voting rights. So Barnes and women also used to smoke, but till 1920s, they would smoke on the little bit on the side, not so openly. Barnes thought that let me influence their mind, perception. How? So what he did, he hired some prostitutes and told them, whenever these marches are going down on the street, you be on the side so that I can click you. You should be visible. And all you do is, you take out from your purse, you take out the cigarette packet and take out the cigarette and with a flourish, smoke. Throwing the smoke in the, and he would click. Slowly what happened, that smoking in public by women got attached to the freedom rights of movement of women. And it became a symbol. Smoke, I can smoke in public. The cigarette sales in 1 year jumped 17%. He was the father of modern advertising. He started converting. Again, I can write here. Can you see this? Can you see this? Oh. See, here is need. And here is want. Need. You need things to survive. That is essential for you to survive. Want is a desire. What Barnes did was, he started advertising so that wants started being perceived as need. Mobile phone has become a need. It's no longer a want. You perceive this as a need. Actually, it is not. Right? So every want gets converted into a need through the media. This is perception. Plain. I am not saying throw it out. I am not saying want is useless. I am just talking of perception. How we start perceiving things. So we are coming to your question. Our perception has been influenced so much that we evaluate ourselves through the assumed eye of the other. Maybe the other doesn't look at you like that. But you think that the other looks at me like that. When you shift from here to here, believe me, in little time, they start looking at you. Kuch to baat hai. It is the matter. And they can't figure out, but they feel ki haan. So then you actually leave that race, you leave that trap, which doesn't mean that you can't wear good clothes, by all means, but you wear it for yourself, not because the other will appreciate you. Then you invoke your own aesthetic sense, your own feeling of comfort, your own feeling of what is good for the weather. These are the 3 yardsticks for clothes, right? Similarly, a beacon, similarly other things. You take charge of what is good for you, not to impress others. It happens. But yes, you have to pay attention to this side and see the reality of it, see the truth in it. Then it happens.
Sir, if I may add, I was being very curious that you know Shushmita Sen. Yeah, she was the Miss Universe.
Yes.
So after listening to you, I'm coming to the last question, but I thought that I'll just say something that she has, she definitely yeah.
This is, you see, there is, I like to use 2 words, freedom and Swatantra. They are Freedom is, if you even look at the dictionary, I want to do something and I am free to do that. I want to smoke, I am free to smoke. Who are you? You know, the only thing which comes in the way will be the law of the land. Otherwise, who are you? Whether you are my father or mother or sister or brother, it doesn't matter. I have the freedom to do as I like. Meaning what? Convert it. I have the freedom to do as I perceive. This is freedom. Entirely based on perception. I am. Who do you? I don't care. Swatantrata is not like that. Swatantrata is made of three small words. Swa, Tantra, and Ta. Swa is beingness, not I. It's my beingness which is common with you, common with you. All of us as human beings. The common beingness. That is why we are called human beings. So Swa is that. Tantra is the order. Which order? The existential order. System, you can call it. The existential system, that is Tantra. Tantra of the human body. Tantra of the existence. Tantra is a system which is given. No, you have not created. School has a system. That is not existential system. That is man-created system. But the existential system is what is spoken. Ta is this. So when I am aligned with the existential system, then I am Swatantra. It's a very different thing. The I goes away, actually, in this. Freedom is full of I, me, I as unique from you. Swatantrata is dissolving the I and being in that existential order after understanding it. You dissolve, it gets dissolved and you become one. So there's a difference. So I don't know which I am she's talking of, but I thought
I don't know whether she got the clarity or not, but I'm definitely going to pick my brain on that. And talking about existentialism, the question is existentiality based on experience?
Yeah, I will, but then that is what the question is. I'm still struggling. I'm not free completely in this sense. I'm still struggling. But what I'm sharing with you, it's from a large part of it. See, the two go together, actually. How is the process? Once you see something, then, and you keep paying attention to it, it is a mental exercise at that time. But then, if you keep doing it, what happens is that different things, like what I've written there, they start getting connected on their own. For instance, the word love, respect, trust, they are three different realities. But then something happens and you see the interconnectivity of all three. Right? So that process has started happening to me. It's not all of it has not got connected, but some of it has got connected. I have started feeling more comfortable in my own skin. What Mrs. Sood said, the same problem existed. What is the other person thinking about me? I am 85% out of it. Maybe not 100%, but 85% out of it. If you can call it experiential, yes. That.
So education helps. Education is getting confident about who I am.
Education can do everything. Unfortunately, it is not available. No, this is not available in the schools. Of course, it can. You can do it. You can do it. You as individuals can do it. The school will not do it. That I know, because school is working under certain limitations, under certain systems, and those systems are beyond the very little can be done about it. There are all kinds of limitations. The limitations of CBSC, the limitations of government, the limitations of the owners, the limitations of all kinds. But still, I, as an individual, as a teacher, I can, I certainly.
On that note, we have come to an end of this lovely session. I had a very good time, but definitely every good thing must come to an end, I believe. So, on that note, I would request our dear Vice Principal ma'am to please give a vote of thanks.
Yeah, today we had a wonderful session with Shri Pawan Kumar Gupta ji, and we have come to know how perception is very, very important in our life to give proper education. Thank you, sir, to give your special time to us, and we really enjoyed the session, and we look forward to listen more because it's too short today, and we prefer to hear from you again and enlighten us. Thank you.
Sir, everybody is writing a chat out. They had a wonderful session. Though you will not be